So we're going to come into your scene properties tab and add a rigid body world right here. In these settings, enable split impulse. This is going to allow us to pop those mugs out. We're going to leave these at 10 for the moment. With this mug that I have selected, I'm going to go into my physics property, add a rigid body, go ahead to 5 frames. I'm going to keyframe this dynamic property here. So hovering over this tick mark, I can press I. Go 1 frame back and I disable this dynamic and I press I again. So from 4 to 5, I move 1 frame forward. I'm checking the dynamic keyframe on. Also go to this collections panel here and put a keyframe to the second layer. From 4 to 5, I am not just making the dynamic keyframe, I'm also animating the collection layer. Make this smaller so it goes down to 0.2 kilograms and not 1 kg. That will help us get that pop effect. Shift D to duplicate this cup. Go to the start of the timeline, bring it to the left side of the frame here. Rotate it on the Z by 180 degrees. If I hit play, nothing's gonna happen. That's because our gravity is turned off. If the gravity is turned on, you're gonna see that these mobs are just gonna fall down into infinity. But if you turn the gravity off, once I play it, nothing's gonna happen, which is a good thing. Now for things to happen, I actually need some force interactions. Make a new collection called force. I'm gonna shift A, add a force field force, and I'm gonna make the force strength to be negative because we want to pull things into this field. So -10 to begin with, and we'll see if it's too much to adjust. So straight away we'll see that the mug which is far away will start moving towards the force field, and once it hits the original mug, they will react because now they're both dynamic. So I want to keep a note at the point at which it hits. So at this point, I'm going to take my first mug, shift D to duplicate it, and pressing A to select all of these, I'm going to bring this ahead. Now there's one thing that I did not do, which we should do. We also need to make sure that they become visible in the render view. First mug at frame 5, I'm going to enable the render toggle, give it a keyframe, go back, disable the render and give that a keyframe. So disabled, forward, and you enable render. At this point, I'm going to come in here and give a keyframe for render view and then come back and give it a keyframe. So right when they're hitting, it's almost as if the collision caused another mug to pop out. So this progress bar here shows how much of the thing is cached out. And if you're playing your rigid body simulation and you don't see things are updating, that's because this orange line at the bottom is frozen the cache. So what you want to do is you want to select any of your rigid body objects, press G to move it a little bit, and now you see these dotted orange lines at the bottom. That means the cache has been refreshed. Now if I let this play, you'll see that eventually they will come to sort of an equilibrium, because the force is a standard force of -10, which is just constantly pulling these objects inside. So eventually they will come to a point where they will settle. Right about here, when the third thing is happening, we'll add one more force here, and that force will be a vortex. So I'm going to come into force and say shift A, force field, vortex. I'm going to keyframe the strength from 0 to 1. Keyframe this. Now the thing is, with vortex here, it will also affect our original force, because here, even though we've made the strength 0, the effect location and rotation check mark is still there. So what we're going to do is we're going to come in here and keyframe this location rotation check mark, go behind, turn it off again, and then again a keyframe. So now this should play as normal. Come back here, pop in, and now there's also a vortex happening at a strength of 1. So I will try doing a strength of 3 just to see if that makes a difference. This effect is a lot of trial and error. So pop in. Maybe we can try a negative strength instead. So if I make it 20, so I'll increase numbers and see what it does. So, okay, now this makes it very whack, but the kind of whack that we like. So see how it goes up and then down here. Here is I want another pop to happen. So I'm going to take my last mug, duplicate it, select all keyframes and G them, grab them ahead. So now we have this happening, pop and pop. So we pop once. No, so now you see that something is off here. So I'm going to select and move it to refresh and now play again. So pop, pop. You got 2 pops. And right about here, I'm going to try and add a series of pops. So I'm going to select mug 03, shift D to duplicate this, shift D again. And I'm going to select these 3 and shift D, And now select these and shift D, and select these and shift D. So I'm going to select all from mug 3, bring them ahead. Now this is going to lag a little bit. Now we're going to use this add-on, which is a free extension at this point in the newer versions of Blender, called Commotion. If you want to find it, you go into Preferences, get Extensions. You're going to search for Commotion, and you can get this. There should be an install button somewhere here. So with this, with all of these selected, you can say selected only, and an offset of, let's say, 3. And I want no random but a name basis the name offset. So if I click the offset button, all of these will be offset by 3 keyframes. So this comes in here and this pops, pop, pop, pop. So around this point, I want to take my vortex, duplicate my vortex, take Control M, time over current frame, and bring them here. So at 152 is my vortex goes off. So I play. I can sort of smell my CPU burning at this point, or the GPU. One of them is burning. So I'm gonna bring my keyframes here and just to see what I'm gonna save once, see what happens. So we have vortex coming on, things popping, that's making that kind of effect, and then vortex goes back in, it comes back up. So vortex going off gives it a bit of a relax, and then vortex coming back in makes it stronger. So what I can do is at this point when we were relaxing, okay, at this point I'm gonna take my last mug 26, duplicate it, bring this here, and I'm going to duplicate it a few times. So 26 selected, duplicate, from 26 duplicate, from 26 duplicate, from 26 duplicate. So for all these from 26 offset by just 1, selected only and offset. And now if I save and play, when they're popping out, that's when we have left our vortex. So it goes out in all directions, and then when the vortex comes up, it again goes up. And if you see it just abruptly stops like this, that's because our rigid body world caches only up to 250 frames. So I'm gonna make this 350, and then I'm gonna end our simulation or our video at 350. So now if I go back and play, there's a chance that we have to unfreeze the cache first and then go. So right now you see all of these cups overlapping, but because we have actually keyframed our render view, in the render view they will not be seen. I just want to show how the mug material is set up. I just have one material called mug, which is used by 78 other objects, but you're getting this colorful little thing here. So the way we achieve that is, instead of just plugging a base color, what we do is we use an object info node. So if you were to view the random property of object info node, it gives a random color to every single instance or duplicate of the object, and this is plugged into a color ramp and is set to constant. The color ramp, you'll get a different color. So if I was to control click here and make this, let's say, another green hue, so now you'll have some cups which will be green as well. So that's a very quick way to make a multicolored cup set. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks so much for being in the code, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.